We return for the winners round 1. Winners side. This is an 8 p.m. game. We're running a little bit late. We had to just reset things on the stream, and it's actually been nice to have a little break and just go and watch a little bit of play from the other tables. It's funny, you sit and watch pool all day, and when you have a break, you go and watch pool. But, I just had a little look across at the Craig Lakin versus Carl O'Donoghue game, and that really is shaping up to be a cracker. Lakin was 3-0 down, and the last time I looked he was 5-4 up and not really looking like missing. Mike King's playing Seb Webb. Mike King, a really tough opponent. I'd be surprised if he didn't go into that one as a bookie's favourite. He's 4-2 up. Ben Flack is playing Ronan McCarthy, trails by 1-0. But we turn our attention. I don't know why they put these players on the stream. Craig Waddingham against Tom Cousins. Who wants to watch this? For goodness sake. Oh, it's Craig Waddingham against Tom Cousins. What a game. What an absolute feast. Great opportunity to watch these two players. As I've mentioned earlier, old adversaries will know each other's game inside out. They'll have played each other many, many times. And it's Tom who's looking to draw first blood. And straight away, the frame is wide open. Friday evening, 8:30. I hope you've got nothing better to do this evening than join us for this fabulous matchup. Two players actually who have played some fairly incredible money matches over the last couple of years as well, both against the same opponent. Of course, Waddingham played Boyle first of all, and they finished up one apiece. And will there ever be a decider to that one? Tom Cousins more recently has played Mark Boyle and was victorious in both of those games. Two absolute beasts on the EPA scene. So Tom Cousins making short work of this first clearance. His nickname is Top Cat. He's 28 years old. He uses a Jason Owen cue. He's got an 8mm tip in his pool achievements. All I can say is Tom is a man of very few words. A man of very few words when it comes to his profile as well. His pool achievements, he's just put 2 times world champion, when of course we know that it's much, much more than that. He's got a long glittering career. Lots and lots of EPA Tour titles. Remember famously got back-to-back 3 in a row a couple of years ago. I think in the 2016 season when he got 3 in a row. 3 tour titles in a row. Was it the 2016 season or 2015? It was certainly around about that time. Paul's having a good think about it because he was covering the EPA in those days. Was it 17? Was it as recent as 17? Well, it seems like it's a bit longer ago. Actually, I think you're right. Thinking about it. Seems like a long time ago. I started playing pool, well, he's put 15 years ago. So we can work out that he was 13 years old. And his greatest influence is Dwayne Evans. Favourite Q Sports player is Phil Harrison because he's a machine and a really nice guy. He'd like to achieve being world champion again. Best player he's ever played against is Phil Harrison. And when asked if he's got any other talents, he put, nope. As I say, man of very, very few words, which you will see if he wins this match and goes into the interview room. If you manage to get him into the interview room, because normally, as soon as the last ball goes down, he disappears straight out of the room because he hates that sort of thing. Craig Waddingham's his opponent, nicknamed Wad. He's aged 30 years old. He's recently married. Got married in June. He's got 4 children. He also uses a Jason Owen cue with a Talisman 9mm tip. His achievements in the game: he won the Masters a few years ago, lost in the final of the World Championships, and he's won a few tours as well. He started playing pool when he was 3 years old. So natural with the cue from a very early age. His greatest influence is his wife. She encourages him to get out and play. Favourite Q Sports player is Ronnie O'Sullivan. And the best player he's ever played against, Gavin Lomax. And any other talents, he's a pretty good snooker player and also pretty adept table tennis player as well. And you can see him just up for an eager little look. Just wondering whether that yellow passed into bottom corner. And this winners round 1 has certainly thrown up some really good games. I'll run down through the scores. Adam Penwell, who we were commentating with earlier, he's putting in a good performance today. He's only trading by 1 frame. He's 5-4 behind against Sean Story, who was pretty impressive. Liam Dunster and Toby Bolt, 3 frames each. Jake Newlove and Jamie Graham locked together at 5 each. Dave Fernandez is 7-5 against Christy Caulfield. Arthur Dad 5-2 up against Carl Morris. Joe Prince is 5-all against Shane Thompson. Eddie Barker 7-4 up against Ben Tanner. Ben 40 against Mark Farnsworth. Well, Mark Farnsworth breeds for his first match 11-0 against Mandeep Jinger. He's playing Ben 40 now and having a tougher task. It's 5 frames each. Craig Brown 4-2 up against Ben Lewis. Ben Lewis knocked out Darren McVicker earlier. And Craig Brown knocked out Simon Fitzsimmons. Mike King now 6-3 up against Seb Webb. Matt Brearley 2-1 against Dave McQuillan. Carl O'Donoghue's won the next 2 frames against Craig Lake, and he's 6-5. Mark Fleming 3-0 against Harjeet Singh. And Clint Ianson 3-0 against Adam Davis. So you are now up to date with all of those scores, and if you want to keep yourself abreast of them all, it's qscore.com. Search for the K8.com Classic, which you will find in the live tab at the top of the screen. So let's focus on what's happening on this table. It's break to Tom Cousins, widely known as one of the best breakers in the game. Absolutely smashes the front ball, but he's come up dry. Such a consistent break. Just the power alone, it fairly reverberates around the room. Power and timing together. Good view of the artwork down Craig Waddingham's arm. He's got sleeves on both of his arms. And the yellows look very good. The only thing he really needs to concern himself about is the 2 yellows towards the bottom left, but they do plant. The only reason there's any concern there is because obviously he just wouldn't be able to get from one to the other, so quite rightly he's going to take the plant, and he needs to take it now, just in case the top yellow goes stray. He's still got another ball to middle bag, and that's come out perfectly. I know that Gareth Hibbett came through that really tough game against Lee Clough, 11-10. So Craig takes advantage of that mistake and wins that frame. And it's now back on break or back on serve. Carl O'Donoghue's won the 12th frame against Craig Lake and now leads 7 frames to 5. hear Tom calling extension. Not a simple route here, he's just trying to work out which set to go for. Certainly going to go reds straight away. A little unwanted kiss. The problem really with this break is obviously you've got the red tied up between the black and the yellow on the left rail, and ideally you want to attack that from the top rail, so you just nudge it down over the middle bag. But the problem is the yellow on the top rail is in exactly the place that you would need to contact, so he's going to have to try a different route now. He's left an angle on this one over the corner. I'm pretty sure that he can screw up into it, but again, the problem with this shot is the red rarely comes out, however you attack it. If you play the black, then the yellow comes out, the black comes out, but the red stays on the cushion. And you really need to go rail first, but then you're bringing the middle bag into play. So it's really just not a gimme. So, as I mentioned, has to attack it from above, so takes on that harder pot to top right and stuns across into it and plays a really good shot. Again, the only issue now is that to land on it, he needs to be straight behind it, and the yellow is exactly where he would like to land. So, in the ideal world, he'd be playing the one to top right with a bit of side and just coming and nudging into the back of that red, but again, can't do that because of that yellow on the top rail. So it's all a bit of a circuitous route now. I think he can screw straight back off one cushion and wants to land somewhere around about where that yellow is above the black. Could even screw into it. He'd be quite happy if he did, just like that. That was so well judged, and now should just be able to drop the red into top corner and have that red to middle. It's a precarious little cut, but this really is a great clearance from Tom Cousins. He's had to go quite some route. This is really impressive stuff from Tom Cousins. This is Tom Cousins at his best. At his brilliant best. That was not a simple clearance. Just the way the yellows were laid out, he had to keep changing and keep adjusting his plan. But really, really impressive clearance there. Nothing for Greg to do. He broke dry and just had to sit and watch. Just looking back at that Craig Lake and Carl O'Donoghue game on table 11. I'll keep you in touch with the score on that. It's Craig Lake at the table. He's got a tricky little finish. Tom, we look at his break again. Fabulous timing. Unfortunately for him, the blacks found its way. Oh, the ref did. I don't think the ref saw that. He was he was busy taking the rack off the table and didn't spot that the black had gone. So he was going to reset things. And it was funny because I was just looking over at the other table as well. Craig Lakin was on a finish, and the black was in amongst the shark rack, and the white had landed on the shark rack. So, and it was pretty straight into the middle, but he asked the referee to move it, and the ref came across and put her glasses on, deciding how the rack would come out, because it was a little bit awkward because there were a couple of balls on it, and he just said, "I'll forget it, I'll play the black," and he just nailed it in the middle. Just nails it again. Doesn't matter, does it? I mean, people always say, don't they, that it's you can have a good break, but if the black goes in off, when you reset them, you always go dry on the next one. Everyone says that, don't they? Well, there you go. That's just to prove you wrong. Look at that for a break. Ball's rushing towards the pocket, and an absolute formality, whichever colour he chooses. I'm fairly certain he will go for yellows, just simply where the black is. May choose to go reds, but the black is kind of surrounded by yellows, so you feel he has to go yellows, because as he picks off the yellows, it's going to unveil that path for the black, and indeed he's just nudged it out into open play. In fact, in doing that, he's just made this a little bit tricky for himself. I don't think that yellow passes the black into the middle. And where he's landed, I don't know if he can, yeah, well, played it well. He could just screw into the black and leave this yellow, and now should be very plain sailing. It's just a simple stun shot through the gap between the yellows and the red, just like so, and leaves himself pretty much a couple of drop-ins. The yellow does pass the red to go into the opposite middle, so you can just top this through. Would probably much prefer to screw it back, but obviously he's hampered, so as I say, just top it through for the yellow in the opposite. A little stun shot, and the black in the same pocket. We saw a bit of a masterclass from Jordan Church in the last frame, but this really is, isn't it? It's Tom Cousins firing on every cylinder he's got. Yeah, I think his name should be Tommy Gun, because it is like a Tommy gun. He just dispatches balls left, right, and centre, like he's just pinging targets off a shooting range. You know those kind of shooting galleries they got at the fairground when you get the gun with the corks and you're just hitting the cans off the shelf. That's what it's like. He's just pinging them off one by one. Makes the game look so easy. Real pleasure to watch.
Frame 6. Craig Waddingham to break. Showing 4 frames to 1.
And there you see the difference between the effectivity of the two breaks. Wad's still got a really big break. He times it well, but look at that. It's come up dry. And if he's not breaking well, you've got to fear for him in this game. Could be over very quick the way Tom Cousins is playing. Ben Flack currently 2 frames to 1 up against Ronan McCarthy. But always going to be a really tough matchup. 2 players at the top of the game. And I think it's Ben at the table with a great chance to go 3-1 up. And he's on a straight black 4-3-1. So, don't mean to be biased because I'm a big fan of Ronan McCarthy. Such a nice fellow as well, but Ben Flack is the Bid Productions horse for this event 4. So we'll be cheering him on throughout the weekend. Just left this perfect to get through to the potting angle. I think we'll see him take the yellow just to the left of the black now. Could play the one over the middle and screw back, but I think this half ball cut, bring the white back over to kind of, you know, just above the blue spot, is going to afford him a much better run out. Means he can just then run down off that one over the middle. He's choosing to take the one over the middle. Maybe just doesn't quite have the angle. And that still worked out absolutely perfect. You can pot this and just take it off one rail. Again, looking, just got the 2 reds, so you just need to play this with care. I don't think you can play it with the left-hand side to check off the cushion because the red will be in the way. So now he's just looking at playing for the gap. Just needs a bit of care over this one. Definitely could go wrong. He's going to run to cushion. You can see him loading up with a bit of side. And there you go. And that was what I mentioned about that red being in the way. And as a result, that's forced the error because he's put so much check side on it to try and get below that red, and it's thrown the object ball, and he's missed it. So, great chance now for Craig Waddingham to wrestle himself back into this match. He's overhit that. Just need to kill the white to hold for one of these 2 balls into left centre, and I don't think he's on either. I think one's, well, the one nearest us will cut back, but it's a thin cut. Plan B, well, looks like he is going for that cut. And that was always the chance that could go wrong. Pushing the red on top of the other. Now, I think he has to play a snooker. And he does. And that's a good shot as well. He's taken away the top cushion. He's taken away the side cushion. So this is a tough one. He's taken away the escape coming twice across table. So he may, well, I don't know, may have to go. Oh, there we go. He's putting all kinds of swerve and side on this, playing down on the ball. What a great attempt. just runs across the face of the yellow. But that's no good. And Craig Waddingham is just going to run this red down over the bottom right pocket and leave things set up. That's good. Didn't need to pot it. Quite happy leaving it on the table. Perfect. Running on. Just screw back out off the side rail. And this will just be a little stop shot to play the black in the middle. And Craig needed that mistake from Tom.
Frame 7, Tom Cousins to break, leave 4 frames to take.
You're almost surprised when he doesn't make a ball. But he's human. Now Waddingham with a real chance to get himself back into this game within 1 frame and get back on break. So he's going to clear the 2 yellows at the bottom of the table first. And fairly natural pattern just to play from the bottom of the table, just work your way up. Bottom corner next and probably screw back to somewhere around about where he is now. And then take these 4 balls out at the top of the table. The black only really goes to left middle, so it'll just be a question of whether he tries to develop it, tries to move it out, or just tries to land on it. I did wonder whether he'd be trying to screw above this red just to nudge the black out, but the problem with that shot, he didn't really have anything. If there was a ball over a pocket, I think he may have risked that, because he would have been guaranteed position. But I think he feels that he can land on it, and he does have a reasonable margin for error down that right-hand cushion. So let's see how this break develops. Needed that red to release up the table now. I think he's still got the one to the right, but he wasn't playing for that, he was playing for this one to the left. And when things like this happen, it just kind of sometimes just puts that little negative thought in your mind. Again, he's absolutely fine. He's got the red to middle, always got options. But he just needs to be careful now because he needs to leave himself an angle. He He could play the one to corner now. I think he's probably got just too much angle to hold. I was going to wonder if he could play it to corner and then screw down onto the yellow. But rightly so, he's going to take that one to middle and leave this longer red. But again, this is one you just feel, if there was ever a mistake, this one is the key ball. And just slightly hamper queuing. He's going to be queuing up over the black. He's going to be jacking the queue up, which just adds a little extra element of difficulty. You can see, jacked up over. Doesn't have to do anything with the white ball. Just needs to drop it in. And does. Yeah, I think he looked at that with just a little bit of concern. It just went to the right-hand side of the pocket. He just wondered for a second if it was going to stay up. Now, what's his angle like? I think he's absolutely perfect. He can screw straight back. Look at that. Needs that to slow down. But I did say he's got some margin for error. He had a good 8-inch window that he could have played into there. He's overhit by 4 or 5 inches, but not a problem. He'll be dropping this in the middle. No drama with the white ball. Just go up and collide with the yellow, and now he's back on break. Ronan McCarthy is now trading 3 frames to 2. He won that next frame, and there's another frame just passed by. I see Ronan racking the balls, but I'm not sure who won that frame. So bringing that score as soon as it comes through. Mark Farnsworth's in a game against Ben 40. That game is 6 frames each. Ben Tanner is 10-8 against Eddie Barker. Dave Fernandez 10-7 against Christy Coldfield. Jake Dylan Newlove is 7-6 up against Jamie Graham. Clint Jansen 4-2 up against Adam Davis. Harjeet Singh is trailing Mark Fleming 6 frames to 1. We saw Mark Fleming on the stream earlier on. Harjeet Singh's been a solid player throughout the series. So a bit of a surprise scoreline there. Carl O'Donoghue versus Craig Lakin, 7 frames each. Matt Brearley is 4-3 up against David McQuillan. Matt Brearley, probably by his own admission, has underperformed throughout the series, so he'll be looking for a good run. And I see the score line, that Ronan McCarthy Ben Flack game that I just mentioned. That was Ronan, who's won 2 in a row now, so it's 3 frames each. Carl O'Donoghue and Craig Lakin at 7 each, and the players have just stepped out for a break, knowing those two probably gone for a fag break. Tom, a bit of trouble here. Causes extension. Craig was just left with that containing shot, pushing the red over the top pocket. He's only really left Tom a cut to middle. Can he just get past his black? If he can, he's got reasonably. No, he couldn't. So again, trying to play a containing shot there, but hard to see how Craig can attack from here. He's just looking now at playing red off yellow, sending the red to top corner. This is certainly going to open the frame. A great effort. And the other thing that he has done there is just push that red. I think there was a gap just behind that red, so he's just pushed it up over the top corner. So now Tom with this one tough ball on the top rail and nowhere really to land on it. Tom has already used his extension, so just needs to be wary of the timekeeper. What a great effort that was. Now the yellow to the bottom corner and tried to screw around and get that difficult yellow out. He's promoted it slightly. Now he has made it a lot easier to get on. He's only pushed it across the rail by a few inches, but now is a much bigger gap to land in. I wonder if he can just try to come around the table to try and manufacture an angle off of one of these balls over the middle. Again, I think he's just come too far. Sorry, not come quite far enough, should I say. Don't think he can hold. So he'll be looking to go. He could just. This is tough now. He's got a bit of angle, and you see he can force it out, but hampered cueing, playing this along the top rail, this is a high degree of difficulty. Absolutely nailed it, like it was over the pocket. Ridiculous. Us mere mortals would struggle with shots like that. That's insane. Hampered cueing, has to force it. Along the top cushion, nails it. This was a big frame. Craig had his chance. It's Tom Cousin who's going to dispatch these last two balls. And it will be a 5-3 lead. Good stuff. Tom to break frame number 9. He's trying again. Great split. Look how many balls are in the top half of the table. 12 balls have gone to the top. Only 3 in the bottom. It's gone slightly awry already. Just not landing quite ideal, but he's still okay. He's got a nice angle on the red, second most to the left of the table. And you can just screw across the face of the other red to its right in the same pocket. And fairly certain that the red to the right hand side passes into that top right pocket. Yes, it does. You can tell by the way he's played that shot. Now the only problem that you see, oh my goodness, I was just about to say this is an absolute formality, is he's tried to nick a little bit of the pocket just to finish straight when he didn't need to. I think he was overthinking it there. He wanted to finish straight so he could just drop the red in the left middle and follow through. But all of this time, the reason he's missed that is because he's trying to get perfect, because he knows he has to leave an angle on that last red to come up table to get on the black, somewhere round about where he is now. And that's the only reason. He's just taking his eye off that shot, is he's thinking a couple of shots forward. Tom looking to play a skill shot here. That's no good. He was looking to pop that yellow run off the face and pop the red to top right. But just misjudged it, went cushion first. And suddenly, this is difficult. The 2 reds on the top rail, he can attack them from the ball nearest the bulk line, but with that red over the right-hand cushion, over the right-hand corner pocket, where do they go? What's he spotted here? He's tried to play another audacious shot, the reverse double and the skill shot at the same time to open up that pocket. He knew it was important to get that pocket open. Craig will be picking up the cue ball. Needs to remember what rule set he plays. He's predominantly world rules, but we already know he played Mark Boyle in both of those games to black ball. Knows these rules very well. I think he will be looking to promote the black. Seems, If he can, well, it really depends. If he can find a way to promote the black and leave himself on that red, it appears he can't. So he's gonna. Oh no, that's loose. That really is loose. He was just making sure again that he left himself low on this red so he could screw up to the bolt line for the black. He thought he had a big pocket there. Well, he did have a big pocket, but he's not found it. Still goes, but this is difficult now. He's queuing over the top of the yellow. He's got the cut to middle, but where's the white going? He's got it long to top corner, which is infinitely more difficult pot. At least if he played it that way, he would have a shot on the black. But don't like this now. Played it well. Given himself a shot. It's difficult. Very thin clip along the top rail, but he'll take it. In or over. Prefer it in. And it is. Where's the white ball? He's fine. So he picks up that frame and draws the score back within one. It's now 5 frames to 4. Ronan McCarthy now 4-3 up on Ben Flack. Clint Hansen 5-3 up on Adam Davis. Carl O'Donoghue is on the hill against Craig Lake in 10 frames to 8. Matt Brearley and David McQuillan tied at 5 each. Craig Brown 8-4 up against Ben Lewis. Mark Farnsworth 7-6 against Ben 40. Shane Thompson's got a match on his hands. He's 8-all against young Joe Prince. 2 old warriors of the game, Arfin Dad and Carl Morris. Arfin Dad is currently 9-3 up against Carl. Jake Dillon Newlove just edging it against Jamie Graham, 8-7. And Liam Dunster is trailing Toby Bolt 7-5. Sean Story 7-6 up against Adam Penwell. And onwards we march, where again we're back on break, and it's Craig Waddingham to get frame number 10 underway. He's not been making too many balls off the break. That has been absolutely nailed. Certainly made balls there, one of each set. Causes extension. It's not straightforward. Balls of either set tied up. If you go yellows, you've got the problem of the yellow nearest the left middle, and also the yellow on top of the red at the bottom of the table. So he was looking at trying to screw down the table and land on that one right now. Again, he's played a great shot, but just forgotten to pot it. Great cue ball coming around, knocking the yellow full ball, leaving himself on his hampered yellow. Did everything but forgot to pot. But again, Tom comes to the table. Absolutely nothing easy here. He's obviously still got the same problem. The left corner, the red ball that's tied up. The one nearest the rail. The one tied up between the two yellows. And the one between the two yellows, he may use that as his opening ball because it pots to top right and he can screw across and get out the difficult ball at the side rail at the same time. Now for us mere mortals that would be a pretty difficult shot, but for Tom, electing to take this one to middle, I think I quite like my option there. Taking that red through the gap and moving the difficult one, because he's still got to do something with it and he's got no angle here. Left himself too thin on this one to corner, so can't develop anything here. So just saying, shut up shop. No chance to attack from there, so rightly so. Going into defensive mode. One cushion escape. You never expect Craig Waddingham to be missing those, and he's had a nice result there as well. Tom's landed on top of one of his reds, so again, there are no attacking options from here. He doesn't want to move the ball that he's closest to either, because that's the one that's kind of tied up, although I think it does go to top left now, so it's going to run off its face, side rail, and back across. But it's kind of throwing the gauntlet down to Craig. Just said, I'm not going to give you any angle to get out your bad ball, so you have a go. Not convinced he wanted that to drop. Just looking at his face afterwards. Now I think this yellow goes. I think it just goes inside the red. Not like that, it doesn't. He's got second prize there. Just caught the red on the way through. Now Tom, that yellow at the top of the table, surrounded, changes the complexion of the frame slightly. He'll be looking to try and draw a foul. Don't think there's anywhere he can snook it now. He may just choose to, I think he'll probably just choose to cover this bottom left bag. Certainly no attacking options from here. I mean, it's a massive target at the top of the table to, I say there's no attacking options, but who knows? Because that is a big target at the top of the table to play a skill shot. So he could pot this, in theory, pot this red to the bottom left and come up for the one over the middle. But no, didn't feel there was any value in that. And the initial option I mentioned, just covering that corner bag. Craig just trying to take away options up the table for Tom, force him into playing this red. It's far enough away from the jewels that he doesn't have to pot it. He can just push it into the right jaw as we look. Good evening to Matty Hawkins. Good evening to everyone in the chat box. I realise there's people joining us as other games finish around the arena. I believe that the Craig Lakin versus Carlo Donahue game has finished. So welcome to you to this game between Craig Waddingham and Tom Cousins. Anybody recently joining us, you're watching the Supreme Pool Series event for the K8.com Classic. We are in the Players Pool and Snooker Lounge in Stoke-on-Trent, a club that's jointly owned by Lee Kendall and Gareth Potts. Gareth away on China duty at the moment. Well, he's managed to play the skill shot. I think he's left this red into middle, but it's a tricky little shot. It's certainly not a simple shot. It's not straight. He needs to find a way to bring the white out to get onto the next one as well, so he can't just drop it. There you see, there's a better camera angle. He's going to have to punch this. What a great shot. Another, I mean, he's just done so many of these. But again, he needs needs to leave a nice angle on this one over the middle to drop down the right-hand side of the table. So, still not straightforward. For those people joining us, this has been an intriguing game between these two. Tom Cousins went out to an early lead. Craig Wadham's been pegging him back. Tom playing sublime pool in the early stages. A couple of mistakes crept in. That's no good. He's just screwed it a little too much, and again he could have been a little more aggressive there, played down into the yellow. What a pot that is. I mean, that is top drawer. He has pulled out some amazing pots during this match so far, and Craig Waddingham, he just cannot draw level. He's been back on break a couple of times, but he cannot get back to all square. Tom Cousins extends his lead again to 2 frames, and he's now 6 frames to 4 ahead.
Frame 11, Tom Cousins to break, leading 6 frames to 4.
Tom persevering with this break from the right-hand side, and it's been almost a tale of two breaks. He's nailed them and potted about 4 or 5 balls, or he's nailed them and potted nothing. There's no in between. I mean, he's absolutely flushed the front. You can't do much more than that. I think that's a great shot. I think he's got a nice angle here to run across into the yellow. Perfect. What a fabulous shot from Craig Waddingham. Absolutely pinpoint perfect. And now can pot this red, screw back off the side rail. And he's in prime position now. Just that one shot. It was fairly natural, but you had to hit the yellow half ball, and he executed it wonderfully well. So this fairly simple clearance to yet again pull back within 1. And we knew from the top of the show that this was going to be a real nip and tuck game. You can just leave the gap here. Leave the white exactly through the middle of that gap. And he does indeed pull within 1. Tom Cousins leaves 6 frames to 5. But Craig Waddingham just continues to snap at his heels. He's going to be breaking frame number 12.
Frame 12, Craig Waddingham to break, trailing 6 frames to 5.
This game is turning into a bit of a tail of the break. Another dry one from Craig just when he was clawing his way back again. Both players just struggling. It's been breaking pretty well today, the table. The ball's spreading far and wide each time, so it's a cruel and difficult game when you can't pop from the break, but you just leave pretty much dollies. I think Tom wants to take yellows. And clever this, really clever. And this is, I've been an advocate for this for quite some time. You only get one extension in these matches, and Tom really having to have a hard think about what pattern he wants to take here. So you heard the referee call 10 seconds. So Tom, rather than say extension, he said, "Could you move the rack off the table, please?" So it's given him the extra 30 seconds he needs to work out exactly what pattern he wants to take. Very clever. Shows how astute he is, always thinking. That's a really good shot. Played, executed to perfection. full ball contact, anything but a full ball contact, he could have been in trouble, so made a full ball contact. And there you see the use of left-hand side, just opening the angle. And he's going to use right-hand side on that one. Again, just to check the ball off the bottom cushion and leave this yellow for the middle. He would have liked to have been a bit straighter, but no drama. He's going to drop the one into the middle now and leave a similar angle to what he's got. He's got options. He could go up the rail first. He has a nice angle on the one up the rail to come out for the one nearest the top cushion, or equally he's on the one over the middle nicely, so he can play that, leave himself a similar angle, and now it's just a natural little drop in. Cue ball's going to come back out to about the center of this bulk area. Great stuff. Another really well executed break, and again he extends his lead to 2 frames. And if you can find a break now and a break dish, that'll put a whole different complexion on the game. A 3-frame lead now, and that will be some way back for Craig. So now, as we enter the middle part of this match, this now becomes the most important break of the match so far. Could be a big swing in this frame. Going to run through some of the other scorelines. Sean Story is 9-7 up against Kapow Adam Penwell. Toby Bolt is still leading Liam Dunster 8 frames to 6. Jake Newlove 2 frames away. Jamie Graham still on his heels, 9-8. Shane Thompson is on the hill against Joe Prince. That one's been nip and tuck, close game all the way through. Ben Tanner is having a really good weekend so far. I think he was 7-3 down against Eddie Barker, and he's come back and beat Eddie Barker. I mean, Eddie's a real gritty player as well. Ben Tanner has won that one 11-8. Arfin Dad threw against Carl Morris 11-3. Mark Farnsworth 9-8 against Ben 40. Craig Brown 9-5 against Ben Lewis. Mike King has easily beaten Seb Webb 11 frames to 4. Ronan McCarthy 5-4 ahead against Ben Flack. Dave McQuillan, Mark Brearley 6 each. As you are all probably aware, Carlo Donahue beat Craig Lake in 11-9. Mark Fleming is 8-4 up against Harjeet Singh. Tom Cousins, as you can see in front of you, 7-5, and Clint Hansen 7-4 against Adam Davis. And within the next 15 minutes, they'll be calling the 10:30 games to the empty tables, and there's some great matchups in that one as well. Mainstream table is going to be Mick Hill versus Sam Bircher. The secondary table is going to be Carl Sutton against Craig Marsh. Outer table, Scott Gillespie versus Gareth Hibbert. Not much going on then. And the other outer table game on stream, Neil Raybone against Jordan Shepherd. Nothing to see here. You may as well go to bed and have an early night. Who wants to see any of that? We bring you the best matchups at the Supreme Pool Series. For those amongst you who are aficionados of the game, Doesn't get much better than this. These matchups are superb. Play to run past the yellow and take it next, but no drama. He's not hampered, he can cue beside the yellow. Takes it to top corner, doesn't want that to keep running. I mean, the black's okay, it's no problem at all. Half ball black to yet again draw within one frame. And it's going to be his break in frame number 14. Yet again, can he draw level? Pleasure to watch these two in action. Somebody making a comment about the pockets on the table. I can tell you categorically that this is a standard Supreme winner. Exactly the same tables as you will find down your local pub or at home. They look a little bit bigger because they always look more forgiving on stream. And also these new cloths, the balls slide. So when they hit the knuckle of the pocket, they tend to slide into the pocket. So it tends to make them look a bit bigger or a little bit easier, but they're standard pockets. It's the same when you watch snooker on TV. Everyone says, oh, the pockets are massive. They're not. The first thing, the players are very good and they tend to pop balls. The second thing, the cushions are very slippery. The cloth is very slippery, brand new. And it just means that they take to the pocket that much easier. Anyway, Craig Waddingham, can he make a ball? Oh, the red was tracking straight towards the middle bag. And another red got in its way, just kept it out. So Tom electing yellows. This must be so frustrating for both players, really. I mean, Craig because he keeps pulling within 1 and then keeps going dry. Tom because he keeps pulling ahead to 2 and then keeps going dry. It's going to be who blinks first on the break. That's a super shot from Tom, just using right-hand side, playing the ball naturally and then checking it off the bottom rail, opening up that angle to come up the left side of the table. Probably, to be ideal, would have rather been 2 inches further up the table, but that's, as they say, picking nits. And he's played a wonderful shot there. Complete control of the balls there, just knew exactly where that yellow was going to go. It really has been superb watching these two players in action. Just a real high quality pool, and the only thing detracting from either's game at the moment is that they can't make a ball on the break. You see Jordan Shepherd watching on, preparing for his match. He's going to be playing Neil Raybone in the next half an hour or so. That will be one of the streamed games. You see him in the background. And just to his left is Oli Bell, who's come through his first game against Zach Shepherd, and he's been entertaining the audience ever since. Always seems to have a couple of people around him, and he's always has a good story. There's a few people around in the arena, but has to be said, most of them are in the main arena and in the bar, watching through the windows. There's some great games you can see in the background. They're right over the top of the trophy. In fact, it looks like, if that would have been slightly differently placed, that was Clint Ianson with his head just above the trophy, and it looked like a couple of extra handles on the top of the trophy, with his ears just sticking either side of the top of the trophy. Sorry, Clint. I know someone will tell Clint what I just said, so I apologise. Clint knows I only mean it in jest. His head was perfectly positioned there, right on top of the trophy. The one person, the one person I hadn't mentioned is Mark Boyle, who of course had a bye through his first round. He's going to be playing the West Country boy, Jez Graham. And that's a tough game for both of those players. The bookie will have Mark as a firm favourite, but Jez Graham, one of the best players to come out of the Southwest. He is an unbelievable player on his day. Some of these games are just worthy of streaming, but you just can't fit them on because there's too many. Rob Chilton versus Dan Davey. Another great game that would be to watch. The ones reserved for stream. I can tell you, you will have a choice of Scott Gillespie and Gareth Hibbert on table 4. Main arena table, Mick Hill versus Sam Bircher. Table 3, Jordan Shepherd versus Neil Raybone. And table 11, Carl Sutton versus Craig Marsh. As I said earlier, we bring you all the best action. Talking about Clint, he's 8-4 up against Adam Davis. Ronan McCarthy just stretching that little lead now against Ben Flack. He's 6-4 up. Jamie Graham. I knew that he would feature this weekend. I knew that he was on form because I saw that he played his brother Jez Graham in a final down in the Southwest last weekend. And he lost the final, but he took some big scalps on the way through. Beat Shane Thompson in the semi-final. He is 9 each against Jake Dylan Newlove. Jamie, another really gritty player. He's a grinder. Never knows when he's beat. I apologise. I've just looking through the scores. I've just taken my eye off this. I'm assuming this is a break dish from Tom, or he's in the middle of a break dish. Looks like he's going to complete it. So, as I say, it's the first player to blink on the break, really, and it's Tom Cousins that does indeed find a ball off the break. And finally, Craig Waddingham has been snapping his heels all the way through this, but now he's got daylight. 9 frames to 6. And the class players just have a knack of doing that, don't they? He's been ahead all the way through, just been struggling a little bit with his break. Craig Waddingham's been there, right up his shirt tails all the way through. But shows the measure of the man that just pulls off a break dish exactly when he needs it. I just realised I've just had a photo come through from my cousin of a piece of artwork that he's just had done on his leg, and I just realised that being here this weekend, I'm missing the London Tattoo Convention, which is a normal visit of mine, and an impressive piece of work he's got done. Yeah, we normally spend the weekend up in London visiting the Tattoo Convention. If you've never had a chance to visit, that's something else. Incredible. Craig will think himself a bit unlucky there not making a ball, but also he must think himself a bit fortunate because that white was tracking straight towards the top corner pocket, and a ball came to save him. It may not save him in the frame because the yellows look good. He's got one tricky ball, but he's got the perfect angle now to nudge it down table. And if you're into your tattoos at all, just going back to that tattoo convention, my cousin just spent 6 hours with a tattooist called Robert Hernandez, and he's I think he's based over in Barcelona, and he's an incredible tattooist. He's does kind of specializes in face pieces, and he does incredible. So if you give him a photo, he'll do someone's portrait, and it just looks like the real thing. It's absolutely incredible. Just have a Google of Robert Hernandez and have a look at some of his work if you're interested in tattoos. Absolutely incredible. I'd hate to think what he paid for it, man. 6 hours in the chair. He's probably paid about $250 an hour for it, so if not more. Anyway, back to the game, and Craig Waddingham broke dry yet again. It really is. His break has just let him down in this match. And Tom ready to pounce. I mentioned those yellows a second ago. He took that first one, the top corner, and punched the difficult one down. Now he's tables at his mercy. Danny Jones asking why the tables have got napcloth now. I'm not quite quite sure what that question means. The cloths have always been napped. Throughout the series, they've used a Strachan cloth. In fact, they've used the Strachan number 10, which is predominantly a snooker cloth. But finally, after about 12 months of waiting, we've got this new superfine Strachan grey cloth, which has been designed and manufactured especially for this series at the request of Lee Kendall. And this is probably about version 4. They had a go several times and Lee just kept rejecting the cloth at great expense to the manufacturer, I think, because it wasn't quite what he wanted. He wanted it to be fast. He wanted it to be really reactive. Just to get that extra roll out of the ball, and that's exactly what they've managed. I'm just going to step away for a couple of minutes for a bathroom break, and I shall be right back with you.
Frame 17, Tom Cousins to break, leading 10 frames to 6.
So just past 10 o'clock and all those 10:30 games being called to the empty tables. So some super games about to get underway. Wow. Unexpected error. Shane Thompson comes in with a little fist pump. He's made it through to the 4 p.m. session. He's on the winner's side. And that shot was all about landing on that red for the middle, because that was pretty much key to the frame. Now everything should be fairly straightforward. The only possible banana skin maybe the black, but given the position of the reds, really shouldn't be. He's just coming a little bit further than he would have liked to on that shot. I think he was looking to drop up to the one on the top rail. He still managed to do it. And I really think that he would probably like to leave the red just below the bulk line to his last ball to get on the black. But I don't know if he can. Just he needs to navigate this traffic in the middle of the table. That's okay, he's still fine. Again, ideal would have been probably dead straight on this. The natural angle takes him towards the yellow, so again, he just needs to do something with the cue ball. As soon as you have to start punching those shots with power, of course, it just increases that difficulty on the shot. It turns it from a gimme into, you know, just that slight element of doubt. And as I mentioned all the way along, it's going to be all about where he leaves himself to get on this black. The ideal place would be where the middle yellow of the three is. If he could be exactly where that yellow is, he'd be perfect. But obviously the yellow's there and he won't risk playing into it, so he's just going to play to the gap between the two yellows. And it's all about the pace. Had a bit of a margin of error, and he's absolutely fine. It's just a quarter ball clip. Nothing to do with the cue ball. And that's a nice clearance. Taking advantage of that mistake from Tom Cousins. And it's 10 frames to 7. And Craig Waddingham does have the break. I'd like to say that that's an advantage, but it's really not at the moment, because he can't buy a ball off the break. Toby Bolt is now on the hill against Liam Dunster, a lot of people's pre-tournament favourite. May well get pushed onto the loser's side.
Extension called.
And as I was saying a second ago, that Craig can't buy a break, he still can't. So frustrating for him. And now this should be game over. It's amazing, isn't it, that you look at this table, and this is for a pub player, this is absolutely no way a gimme. But you almost take it for granted that these guys are going to get them. You just take it for granted, and that's a wonderfully controlled shot to get on his one awkward ball. Again, just needs to cue it well. Just cue through the bottom of the ball and just stun the white. Back up a few inches. We do get treated. In fact, we probably get a little bit. I don't know what the word is. Almost a little bit. It's not lazy, is it? But we just expect these players just to deliver for us. You look at a table, and yep, these are gone. You just become expectant. So again, it should be plain sailing. The yellow below the black doesn't go to left center, so I think drop this one into top right, leave it at an angle, play the one to top left, and then just drop across to the side rail to take that yellow as his last ball. And Tom just looking at the angle he wants. That's he's underhit that. He's underhit that by. He just quit on the shot. Just didn't play his cue through that shot at all. And he's straight down on it. I'm wondering if he can hold, but he's straight down on it, so I'd have to assume that he can. Well, again, as they say, took his medicine and decided just to screw down the right side of the table, and he should still get these, but I think he's going to have to play this to top corner, and he's either just going to come off side cushion and leave himself a long black, or he's going to try and screw around the angles. He's screwed around the angles, and there's his luck. Wow, fabulous. What an awesome shot. Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. What a great finish there from Tom Cousins. A ripple of applause from around the audience, but that was absolutely awesome. And he marches on the winner's side. He's through to the 4 o'clock session, and Craig Waddingham will be back in action tomorrow morning at 10:45 on the loser's side. I would imagine that Lee Kendall will try and get Tom Cousins for an interview, but don't hold your breath, because he hates them, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does a quick runner. It would be good to hear from him. We shall see. So we are back with the action probably in 15-20 minutes, when Mick Hill will be playing Sam Bircher, but there's other games on the other stream tables as well, so do keep an eye out. There's some great action still to come tonight, but for now we will bid you farewell, and we'll be back very shortly with that final game of the evening.
Cousins, he had a tough first round match. It was 11-10 and another tough one against a great opponent there.
Yeah, first round I was terrible, but played well that match.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
Craig's a great player. I mean, he missed the last event. I think he went to a wedding or something, but he's told me he's playing well, so you must have played well too.
yeah, he only put off one break, I think, and that was the difference really. Just
I mean, I was going to say that game was all about the break.
Yeah.
I mean, early doors you were timing it lovely. You were either potting 4 or potting none, and he kept coming back within one frame, and then he'd break dry.
Yeah.
And then he'd come back within 1 and break dry, and then it was really about who was going to blink first, and then you obviously potted to go 3 clear at 9-6, and then really it was kind of plain sailing from there, I guess.
Yeah. Well, if he'd have potted off a couple of breaks, it would have been a lot closer. But as it was happy days.
Yeah. How are you finding the new cloth?
It's all right. I do like it, but I'm just
used to the
Yeah.
speed, or you like a bit slower, or what's...
Yeah, well, I'm used to the Hainsworth match.
Yeah.
That's what we practice on. So
That's a similar speed. I think the difference from the few games I've played and practiced with it, this is a little bit more reactive. So when you like stun a ball, it brings back, and I think probably the match just runs a little bit. When you get a batch of match, it can be a lot quicker in that sense.
yeah, it just takes some getting used to, I suppose, doesn't it?
Yep. But
So-
you're due for a good run, and I think it's the semis the best you've done.
Yeah,
in
the
this
first
one,
event,
and,
yeah.
You know, we do expect you to win one of these. So
Well.
you're running out of time.
Yeah, as long as it's the last one, I don't mind.
This is the one worth winning. So.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about those rules? Have you tried them yet?
Oh, I haven't got a clue what they are yet. So,
You're such a relaxed character. You just
well, I'll look after this event, really.
yeah. Have you
yeah,
played Chinese at all? Because they're obviously quite similar to
No,
to
never,
Chinese.
no.
Never
There are a
played.
mixture of a few. I mean,
Yeah.
they're mainly Chinese and American rules,
Yeah.
which is very attacking. And if you hit the ball on, you can basically do a lot of things. The only thing you can't do, and compared to that game, is you can't do the jump shot.
Yeah.
But there's different things.
So we
Just-
fail, can you pick a white up?
Yeah, it's 9-ball in that sense, where you pick the white up, you put it anywhere on the table.
Oh, right.
Only one visit.
Right.
You always have to hit your ball on, and you have to hit a cushion the same as you would at these
But-
two rules, really.
With your break, it's just going to be break dishing. It doesn't matter what the rules are.
Well,
I
we'll
think
see,
for you it'll help in the sense where you like to play a quick and attacking game, and especially if you're playing world rules, you can cover a pocket and you can get bogged down a little bit. I think with the Supreme rules, they're going to be so quick where if you put a ball over the bag, you can drop yours straight on it. So
Oh, but then could he pick a white up and put it
no,
on
it's
it?
not a foul. As long as you
Oh.
hit your ball,
Oh,
so I
right.
could play my yellow onto yours over the bag, and I'll lose my turn.
Right.
So a bit like chess in a way, where you you can keep taking your pawns off and get to the end part of the game. So just a
Oh.
rapid way of getting through the frame, where instead of being a bag covered, having a pocket cover is going to be no good to you, Tom.
Right, I see.
So I'm sure that will.
So like, 'cause I could pot his last ball and snook him on the black and he can't move it.
Yeah, because as long as you hit your ball, you've not done a foul. If you pot your ball, it'd be like a normal visit, you'd carry on again. But
Oh,
if you play your ball onto his, then it'd just be a loss of turn.
Right, fair enough.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Excellent.
Okay, quick insight to the rules there. But no, Tom, a great win there beating Craig, and all that. What have we got next, Nick?
I just looked it up as well. Who have we got next? I literally just looked it up, and my brain's gone blank. I did just tell everyone in the audience, so hopefully
I'm
they
sure
got
it'll
it
be a
locked.
good match. No, well, okay, we don't.
Oh, it's Mick Hill. Sorry, Mick Hill against Sam Bircher. Sorry, I finally got there.
So we got Mick, who got to the semi-finals of the last event, and he'll be chasing you for the title, I would have thought, Tom. So
Yeah.
Thomas, so rarely we get you in the commentary box because you normally run off straight afterwards. So
Yeah, well, I'll run
I-
off next time as well.
I have to ask you: have you had your daily McDonald's, or are you going to go and get that now?
Okay. Well, I haven't had one yet, actually.
Have you not?
No, I haven't. No.
Oh wow!
you're just looking at prices, not you? I can't take any
Yeah.
pictures of it.
Yeah, I know.
No, but the fans do want to see you, Tom. And you know,
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
ribbed you a few times, but I mean, the top players, people want an insight of what you do, why you're so good.
Yeah.
So to get you in here is important for the fans and the pool world to see, you know,
Right.
what you've got.
He's not convinced. Not convinced at all.
So keep winning, or keep getting you back in.
All
Is that a
right.
deal?
Yeah, deal.
All right. Okay. Thanks very
All
much.
right.
All right. We'll get the Michael and Bircher match on very soon, and good luck to Tom and the rest of the tournament.
Cheers, man.
Cheers, Tom.